What's going on, guys? This video is going to be a review of last night's episode of The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 12, Clear. First off, I totally called it with Morgan being back. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. Morgan is back. The man shooting them on top of the rooftop was Morgan. I remember I was watching it with my girlfriend's family, and when they took off his mask, I was like, "Oh, I called it! I called it." So that was really awesome. It was kind of cool to see what Morgan was like, how he's changed. He's slimmed up, definitely. I think maybe that's just me thinking that because of the zombie apocalypse, but I think he for sure slimmed up. Yeah, he's changed a lot. And there are all these messages written all over the town. I see some, obviously, clears written everywhere. There are arrows leading into the town. Away with you was one of them, written in blood, I think. And behind Away with you was in a little stone square block. It's almost like like maybe a park or something. He was burning bodies. Morgan was actually burning bodies, and I think that's what clear actually meant, was him burning all the bodies, which is kind of cool, I guess. But if that's not it, I don't really know what clear could mean other than that. If you guys want, you guys can comment below and give me other ideas. But anyway, you know. Anyway, the guy's shooting. I'll just give you a quick rundown. Rick, Michonne, and Carl leave to go to his hometown to get weapons, which is what I was pretty much, that's pretty much what I thought was going to happen, because they're running out of bullets. Herschel said that so many times, and if they want to, they know that the governor wants to give them war, but they have no one. They have so many people they've lost, and not enough guns or weapons to do anything. So, yeah, they couldn't fight the governor without weapons. So they went, and actually, it's kind of funny. On the way, they passed this guy who was yelling at him, trying to stop. Now, I thought in the commercial, at least, when I saw this guy, I thought this guy was going to play a pretty good part of the story, which I guess he did in this episode, but he didn't. I'll explain it later. But anyway, they just pass him, and their car gets stuck in the mud, so Rick gets out and pulls out this something to kind of stick under it and give him a little more traction above the mud to get their car out. And they turn back, and that guy's still running, screaming, "Hey, help me!" And they leave, which was I don't know, like, you kind of felt bad, but it was pretty funny. But anyway, they leave. They go on to Rick's hometown. They see all the messages, the bodies being burnt. Away with you. They follow the green arrows into Walker booby traps. Actually, there's sticks, spiky shovels, knives, a bunch of things pointing out everywhere, and booby traps, just so many booby traps, to where if you're human, you could pretty much easily maneuver around them. Rick, Carl, and Michonne did. But walkers are just, they're just walking. They don't care. They don't think. They're just going. So they would get stuck on these things. It would skewer them, and they would be stuck. They couldn't get out. So that was pretty, that was kind of, I don't know, I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it was a good idea, and he would use little, like, rats, like sewer rats and stuff he would get, and put them in cages and put them behind spikes so the walkers would see them and think, "Oh, food," but not think about the things around them, and it would skewer them, it trying to get to the rat. It was pretty cool. It's a really awesome idea. I don't remember seeing, I think that's the first time they've done something like that, so it was really awesome. They did a really good job with that. So anyway, they go into the town, and the walker trips a wire, and a gunshot goes off. And they look up, and there's a man standing on top of the roof to, drop all their weapons, their shoes, basically everything they have. And actually, at that moment when that happened, I was beginning to doubt that that guy was Morgan. I thought that they were going to find him, but I was beginning to doubt that that guy was Morgan because his voice was different. His voice was so different. To me, at least. I thought it was different. And I just rewatched season 1 with my sister, like, I don't know, a few days ago. Like, I finished, like, last week. And it's Monday. So, I think I finished Friday. But, yeah, it was pretty, I don't know, I was kind of like, I hope, this is not Morgan. I don't think that's going to be Morgan. And, Rick and Carl run off, and Michonne actually runs off to try to get to the top of the building because she wants to see if she can get to him, because she thinks she can get to him. So Rick and Carl go off and go hide, and Rick's shooting up at the building, and Rick gets rid of his bullets, the dead bullets in his gun, and he goes in to reach in for his pocket, and you can see he doesn't really have a lot left. They have nothing. They really are running so low on weapons, which is really, really, it really just shows you how bad they are right now compared to what they were like in season 2. They were pretty bad, I guess, but nothing compared to like now. And it actually makes me think, they've already announced season 4, but how long, are they going to go? Are they going to continue to lose their humanity, or have they just lost their humanity altogether? Have they lost all their weapons after this? Where else are they going to go? So it's pretty awesome. But anyway, they go. Michonne ends up getting at the top of the building because Rick turns around to shoot up, and Michonne's already there, and she's like, I don't see him, and Rick looks up and turns, and he actually comes out of the alleyway. The guy in the mask comes out of the alleyway and starts shooting, and Rick's, kind of taking cover, and then Carl runs out and shoots him in the stomach, or in the side, or whatever, knocks him out. So he's laying there, and they walk over, and Rick takes the mask off, and it's Morgan, which was awesome. I was so happy. Like I said, I was just like, oh my god, I called that. Like, it was awesome. Really awesome thing they did. I knew Morgan was going to be in the episode. They're going back to his hometown. Rick remembers Morgan still. So it was either, that guy was going to be Morgan. He was either going to look for Morgan, maybe go to the house, see it was abandoned or something, maybe not find him, but I knew there was something was going to happen with Morgan, involving Morgan, somehow. So it was kind of cool how they had Carl shoot him. I thought that was really awesome. But they drag Morgan into his house and see that he has just so many freaking guns, grenades, so much stuff. And actually on the way in, there's a welcome mat, and Michonne stops Rick and says, oh, remember this place is boob, don't step on the welcome mat. And Rick moves the welcome mat, and there's a hole, and I think there were a bunch of knives sticking up, which was kind of cool that he made a pitfall trap. I thought that was kind of funny and awesome to see. But I think it was a bunch of knives or like pipes, metal spike pipes that he sharpened, or something in there that actually, I guess, I don't think it was deep. It didn't look deep enough for them to actually fall all the way in. It looked deep enough for their feet to stab through these things and just get stuck there, and they couldn't like move their hands so he could come out and shoot them or stab them with a knife. But I mean, they still have their hands free, so I don't know if it'd be the best thing for them to actually come up and stab the walker, or if they would, I guess he would shoot. Because, I mean, yeah, the noise, but there's so many booby traps out there that I don't know, unless a herd completely, because, I mean, if a herd came through, even with all those booby traps, the ones in the front would be getting caught in the booby traps, but depending on how big the herd is, they could just power through it. All their weight could probably power through all of the booby traps, probably destroying the booby traps. But anyway, they bring him in, they sit down, and Rick actually ties him up and says, we're not going anywhere. And Michonne starts eating his food, and it was pretty funny. She's just sitting there munching on, I guess it was chips or something. He's like, oh, Rick's like, oh, we're eating his food now, and she's like, oh, well, the mat said welcome. So that was pretty funny. Michonne talked more in this episode, I think, than throughout the whole freaking season. Like, she was such a good character in this episode, which is awesome. I'm glad that she's talking now. Considering we're reaching the end of the season, she really needs to put it in gear and, do stuff, which she did in this episode, which was awesome. Anyway, Carl wants to go off. Michonne goes and helps him because she makes a promise to Rick to watch him. Carl wants to go get a crib for Judith. Judith. I think it's Judith. Yeah. So he goes off to try to get a crib. Michonne follows him. Morgan wakes up and actually charges Rick with a knife. And Rick's talking to him like, you know who I am? He's like, no, I don't know who you are. You could be a guy wearing a dead man's face and stuff. And he actually stabs Rick in the my webcam's flipped. Actually would stab Rick in the left side, which, sorry, I had to move. Which kind of looked, the way the angle looked, it stabbed all the way through, and it looked like it stabbed in his heart, but I think it was higher up, actually, more towards his shoulder. And Rick actually gets up, and I was surprised, actually, that Rick didn't shoot him. Considering where Rick is at this moment, I was so surprised that he didn't shoot him. So that was kind of a cool thing that they did. So, that happened. Shoot to Carl and Michonne. And Carl actually is trying to get into this cafe full of walkers, so they actually roll these rats in cages in the building. Really awesome. Walkers go to them. They get into a little bit of trouble. Turns out Carl wanted to get a picture of his mom, Rick, and himself, so Judith could see what his mom looked like, which was really an awe moment, I think, for everyone, because that was just like, I don't know, I was like, Carl, no. But anyway, they leave, and Carl actually drops the picture and holds the door closed, and Michonne actually says, stay here. I'm gonna go over and sneak in and get it, so the walkers are distracted. She goes in and gets the picture really quick, it's like a snap. She gets the picture, comes back out, and she was like, it's not. She was like, oh, I couldn't pass this up either. She picks up this ugliest sin. I don't know. I thought it was ugly. This cat, paper mache, I think cat. There's a bunch of different colors, and it was really funny and fun to see Michonne actually interact with people, and it shows that Michonne is not always serious too. A lot of comedy in this episode. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, best episode of this season so far. So anyway, they go back. Rick is trying to talk to Morgan, saying to come, and we learn how what was his name? Dwayne turned. I think that was his name, but we learned how it turned, and it was pretty emotional scene in this whole episode. Him describing that he didn't kill his wife at the end of season 1. His wife was the one who bit his son. Pretty freaking emotional. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up because we're reaching that 15-minute YouTube mark. So that happens. Morgan decides not to stay. Rick loads about 2 bags of guns and ammo. I don't know if he took the grenades. I hope he took the grenades. Because if you guys remember in season 1, Rick had that grenade that whole season, and it turned out to be pretty freaking useful. So I think he took a few grenades. But anyway, Morgan says he has to clear, which he's burning all the bodies, and they leave. And it's kind of funny at the end. Michonne's like, do you see things? And Rick's like, yeah. She's like, I used to talk to my dead boyfriend. It's understandable. He's like, you want to drive? And she's like, yeah, he was good because I see things. It was just funny. But anyway, they leave. They see a bunch of blood, which is that guy that was chasing him in the beginning of the episode. They see his bag. They drive off. And I was laughing. I was like, oh, God, please. And they back the car up, grab his bag, and drive off. It was just, they needed it. It was just funny. But anyway, awesome episode. Episode gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Definitely the best episode of the season. Such a better episode than the last one we got. So, awesome stuff. So, continue to watch my video reviews. I'll be doing some more Walking Dead reviews, comic reviews, and stuff. So, peace out, guys.